कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरदारी जय गिरिवरदारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरदारी जय गिरिवरदारी जय गोपी जय गिरिवरदारी जय गिरिवरदारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरदारी जय गिरिवरदारी जय गिरिवरदारी जय गिरिवरदारी चेयतोरनुतन व्रज जनुरुन्तन यतोर व्रज जनुरुन्तन यतोरनुतना व्रज जनुरुन्तन यतोर यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कुंज विहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की नमाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ षड गोस्वामी वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की व्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की मथुरा धाम की जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र महारानी की श्री श्री निताई गौर सुंदर की श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री श्री राधा माधव की, श्री कृष्ण भगवान की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की, पतित पावन श्रील प्रभुपाद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 54, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Bhaktya tvananyaya sakya agamevam vidorjuna jnadum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parandava. Bhaktya tvananyaya sakya agamevam vidorjuna jnadum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parandava. Bhaktya tvananyaya sakya agamevam vidorjuna jnadum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parandava. Translation. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Purport. Krishna can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service. He explicitly explains this in this verse so that unauthorized commentators who try to understand Bhagavad Gita by the speculative process will know that they are simply wasting their time. No one can understand Krishna or how he came from parents in a four-handed form and at once changed himself into a two-handed form. These things are very difficult to understand by study of the Vedas or by philosophical speculation. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that no one can see him or enter into the understanding of these matters. Those who, however, are very experienced students of Vedic literature can learn about him from the Vedic literature in so many ways. There are so many rules and regulations, and if one at all wants to understand Krishna, he must follow the regulative principles described in the authoritative literature. One can perform penance in accordance with those principles. For example, to undergo serious penances, one may observe fasting on Janmashtami, the day on which Krishna appeared, and on the 2 days of Ekadasi, the 11th day after the new moon, and the 11th day after the full moon. As far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Krishna consciousness is a benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most munificent man of charity because love of Krishna, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. So if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, That charity given to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. And if one worships as prescribed in the temples in India, there is always some statue, usually of Vishnu or Krishna. That is a chance to progress by offering worship and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the beginners in devotional service to the Lord, temple worship is essential. And this is confirmed in the Vedic literature, Svetasvatra Upanishad 6.23. Yasya deve para bhaktir yada deve tada gurau tasyaide kadida hyarta prakasande mahatmanah. One who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the spiritual master, in whom he has similar unflinching faith, can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by revelation. One cannot understand Krishna by mental speculation. For one who does not take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. The word tu is specifically used here to indicate that no other process can be used, can be recommended, or can be successful in understanding Krishna. The personal forms of Krishna, the two-handed form and the four-handed, are described as Sudurdarsham, very difficult to see. They are completely different from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna. The four-handed form of Narayana and the two-handed form of Krishna are eternal and transcendental, whereas the universal form exhibited to Arjuna is temporary. The words Twadanyena Nadrishta Purvam state that before Arjuna, no one had seen that universal form. Also, they suggest that amongst the devotees there was no necessity of showing it. That form was exhibited by Krishna at the request of Arjuna, so that in the future, when one represents himself as an incarnation of God, people can ask to see his universal form. The word na, used repeatedly in the previous verse, indicates that one should not be very much proud of such credentials as an academic education in the Vedic literature. One must take to the devotional service of Krishna. Only then can one attempt to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna changes from the universal form to the four-handed form of Narayana and then to his own natural form of two hands. This indicates that the four-handed forms and other forms mentioned in the Vedic literature are all emanations of the original two-handed Krishna. He is the origin of all emanations. Krishna is distinct even from these forms. What to speak of the impersonal conception? As far as the four-handed forms of Krishna are concerned, it is stated clearly that even the most identical four-handed form of Krishna, which is known as Mahavishnu, who is lying on the cosmic ocean and from whose breathing so many innumerable universes are passing out and entering, is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.48, Yasyaiganiswasita kalam adavalambya jivandiloma vilaja jagadandanadaha Vishnurmahan Saiha Yasya Kala Visesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Mahavishnu into whom all the innumerable universes enter and from whom they come forth again simply by his breathing process. He is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda, Krishna, the cause of all causes. Therefore, one should conclusively worship the personal form of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has eternal bliss and knowledge. He is the source of all forms of Vishnu. He is the source of all forms of incarnation. And he is the original Supreme Personality as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Vedic literature, Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.1, the following statement appears. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Krishna, who has the transcendental form of bliss, eternity, and knowledge. I offer my respect to him because understanding him means understanding the Vedas, and he is therefore the supreme spiritual master. Then it is said, Krishno vai paramam daivadam. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.3. Eko vasi sarvagaha Krishna idyah. That one Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and he is worshipable. Eko pisan bagudayo avabadi. Krishna is one, but he is manifested in unlimited forms and expanded incarnations. Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.21. The Brahma Samhita 5.1 says, Isvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, who has a body of eternity, knowledge and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the cause of all causes. Elsewhere it is said, Yatravatirnam Krishnakyam Param Brahma Narakrudi. The Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. His name is Krishna. And he sometimes descends on this earth. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of all kinds of incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this list, the name of Krishna also appears. But then it is said that this Krishna is not an incarnation of God, but is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Ete cham sakala pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Matta paradaram nanyat. There is nothing superior to my form as His personality of Godhead, Krishna. He also says elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Aham adirhi devanam. I am the origin of all the demigods. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna also confirms this in the following words. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. I now fully understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, and that you are the refuge of everything. Therefore, the universal form which Krishna showed to Arjuna is not the original form of God. The original is the Krishna form. The universal form, with its thousands and thousands of heads and hands, is manifest just to draw the attention of those who have no love for God. It is not God's original form. The universal form is not attractive for pure devotees who are in love with the God, who are in love with the Lord in different transcendental relationships. The Supreme Godhead exchanges transcendental love in his original form of Krishna. Therefore, to Arjuna, who was so intimately related with Krishna in friendship, this form of universal manifestation was not pleasing. Rather, it was fearful. Arjuna, who was a constant companion of Krishna's, must have had transcendental eyes. He was not an ordinary man, therefore, he was not captivated by the universal form. This form may seem wonderful to persons who are involved in elevating themselves by fruitive activities, but to persons who are engaged in devotional service, the two-handed form of Krishna is the most dear. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimade Jayapataga Swaminidhi Namini Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripapradayine Gaura Gada Damadaya Nagaragramadharine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swaminidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desadarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So in this sloka, Krishna, he is speaking about his form, and in a conclusive way Krishna is speaking. Because in the previous sloka it's mentioned Naham Vedair na tapasa na danena na sejjaya sakya evam vido drashtavan asimam yada. Translation is mentioned, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So, right? So it is actually difficult to understand Krishna. If we try to understand Krishna through these methods, we will fail only, because Krishna himself is speaking. The Supreme Lord is speaking about him, about himself. So he is saying here, Bhaktya tu ananyaya sakya. So it is possible only by ananya bhakti. Ananya bhakti means unalloyed or pure. Right? Ananya, in the morning we were discussing. Ananya means anya, before that a is there. A is there. Anya means other than Krishna. So when we add A in front of that, Ananya, that means no other method or no other worship, not depending on all those things, simply depending on Krishna alone. That's called Ananya. Or in a simple way we can say Ananya means pure, completely pure, simply depending on Krishna. So Krishna is saying only that type of bhakti, only if we have that type of bhakti, pure bhakti, not at all depending on anything else, simply depending on Krishna alone. Only if we have that type of bhakti, then only aham evam vidorjuna. Arjuna, vidu means understanding. One can understand like this, aham, I am standing in front of you. So Krishna is standing in front of Arjuna in a two-handed form. Even Lord Mahavishnu, there is a nice pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Mahavishnu, Lord Narayana, he also wants to have darshan of Shyamasundara Krishna, the two-handed form of Krishna. When actually in Dwaraka, there's a nice pastime. When Yudhishthira Maharaja was there, and Lord Balaram was there, and the Krishna's Edu dynasty, they were all there. And that time, suddenly they heard a complaint bell. It's mentioned Ugrasena, right? Ugrasena Maharaja. Ugrasena Maharaja, he was the king of Bhoja dynasty, Edu dynasty, Vrishni dynasty. He was the king, Ugrasena Maharaja. And Balaram, Lord Balaram, Krishna and all, they were just supporting. They were playing the role. So Ugrasena Maharaja was ruling. And the time they heard this complaint bell by the Brahmana. Because they never heard this complaint bell. Nowadays everywhere grievance box is kept. Grievance box. And even if we write a grievance letter in that, no reply will come. No reply. The type of constitution we are having now. But during that period, when Ugrasena Maharaja was ruling, actually Krishna only was ruling, but Krishna was just the backside, he was doing everything, and Ugrasena Maharaja was the king. So they never heard the complaint bell at all, because the whole citizens, they were fully satisfied. See, Prabhupada used to say this point. Nowadays, people, they want Ramarajya without Rama. How it is possible? Ramarajya is so glorious. When Lord Rama was ruling in Ayodhya, no, in the same way, no one was having any complaints. Everyone was fully satisfied. That is the meaning of Supreme Lord. So in the same way, during Ugrasena Maharaja's period, there was nobody was ringing the complaint bell. One day they heard this complaint bell. And Brahmana was ringing that, making that sound. So everybody was actually was so anxious. Why this person, this Brahmana is ringing the bell? So they went and asked, what is your problem? What is your complaint? He said, as soon as my wife delivers the child, immediately child is disappearing. Child is disappearing. And you are the cause. Coming and telling Krishna to the king, he is telling, to Ugrasena Maharaja, you are the cause. Then everyone was actually lowering their head. They were not speaking anything. In that same assembly, Arjuna also was there. So when Lord Balaram, he is also sitting, and Satyaki is Chaparajitaha. Satyaki is sitting. No one can conquer Satyaki in the warfield. That Satyaki is sitting. When everyone was sitting, suddenly Arjuna got up. Arjuna told, oh Brahmana, so you have got this complaint. Your child, your wife, as soon as delivers a child is disappearing from the scene. So I am making this promise, because I am not Krishna. Even Arjuna is speaking like that. Arjuna is speaking, I am not Krishna. I am not like Krishna or Balaram. I am Arjuna, the holder of the Gandiva bow. See how powerful the Maya? He is speaking like that. I am the holder of the Gandiva bow. So I am making solemn promise on the basis of this Gandiva. My Gandiva will never fail. That's why all these things, possessing all the talents, Prabhupada is writing in the purport, possessing all the talents, educational qualification, all these things, it is actually a disturbance to develop pure love for the Lord. When we possess all these things, naturally pride will come. So Arjuna, he told like this, I am the holder of the Gandiva bow. I am making promise on the basis of this Gandiva. My promise will never fail. I am not like Krishna or Balaram. He said like this. And Lord Balaram is sitting in the same assembly. He is keeping quiet. So I am taking this promise. In the next year, when your wife delivers a child, I will protect your child. Okay? The next year came, and Arjuna was informed. Arjuna went to the same place. The maternity room was completely covered by Arjuna's arrows. Arjuna was expert, very expert. So Arjuna released varieties of arrows and simply covered the maternity room with full of arrows. No, even a single ant can go inside. And Arjuna was just roaming the side, waiting for the child to take birth. So when Arjuna was just roaming that side, he suddenly heard sound. Child is crying. So he was very alert. Who is entering? Let me see. Because Brahmana, he gave a complaint to Ugrasena Maharaja by ringing the bell. He said that I have lost some 5-6 child like this. As soon as the child comes out, immediately child is disappearing. 5-6 times it has happened. Like that he complained. So Arjuna this time he is guarding and waiting very carefully. Who is entering? Let me see. Then he heard the child was crying, and immediately he heard mother's cry also. Mother is also crying. He was very much disturbed. Why mother is crying? Then immediately Brahmana came out and shouted like anything, chastised Arjuna. You took a great promise in front of Lord Balaram. The Supreme Lord Balaram is sitting in the same assembly. Satyaki is sitting. But you took a promise thinking that you are a great hero. This time also my child, as soon as came out, immediately disappeared. So what is the use of your promise and your Gandiva? So Brahmana chastised like anything Arjuna. Then Arjuna, see, Krishna is teaching. Krishna is the best teacher. The best teacher. The jiva, no, the spirit soul, as soon as we acquire some material qualification, immediately we will forget Krishna. That is the nature of the conditioned soul. Prabhupada is writing very nicely, the Nitya Siddha Jivas. Nitya Siddha Jivas, they will never forget Krishna even a second. But we are not in that category. We are all Nitya Baddha Jivas. We will easily forget Krishna. Very easily. Of course, Arjuna is not in that category. So, Arjuna immediately told the Brahmana, don't worry, I will somehow or other fulfill my promise. You just give me 1 day time. Before the sunset happens, I will find out your child. Where it has gone, I will find out. Otherwise, I will enter into the fire. I will commit suicide. I will give up my life by entering into the fire. Right? Arjuna gave this promise. That is why Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, Anya Abhilashida Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam. That is called Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam. Our Bhakti, it should not be tinged with the Jnana tendency or the fruitive tendency, fruitive mentality. Our bhakti should be unmixed with all these things. Anavritam means not covered by jnana and karma. Then only it is called Ananya Bhakti, pure bhakti. It's called Kevala Bhakti, they will say, technically. So Arjuna, he started searching everywhere. Where is the child? With the Gandiva bow, he was searching everywhere. He went to Indraloka, Chandraloka, he went underneath the ocean because he was having all the mystic potency. By the use of mystic potency, he traveled everywhere. He went to Yamaloka also, searched there also. He didn't find that child. So whole day he was searching, searching, searching. He couldn't find the child, and the sunset is going to happen. Actually, sunset already happened. So what Arjuna, he came down and he created fire by releasing arrow in the earth. He created fire. So powerful Arjuna, and he was circumambulating the fire. Okay, I will give up my life because I promised if I don't find the child before the sunset, I will give up my life. So he was circumambulating the fire to enter into the fire. That right moment Krishna appeared. Oh, rain, huh? Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna. Sorry, because of rain, there is some disturbance. Right. So, when Arjuna was trying to enter into the fire, the right moment Krishna appeared. When Krishna appeared, then Arjuna, that time alone, he remembered, oh, how I forgot Krishna. Then he asked forgiveness. Oh, Krishna, I forgot you. Without consulting you, I took this promise. And he asked forgiveness immediately to Krishna. Actually, Krishna asked this question, why you took this promise without asking me? Then immediately Arjuna lowered his head and asked forgiveness. Of course, there is a very thick, loving relationship between Krishna and Arjuna. Eternally, that relationship is there. He is not like us. We have forgotten Krishna. We have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. So, and Krishna immediately, okay, I will retrieve the child. You come with me. So Krishna actually took Arjuna in his same chariot. And Krishna's chariot was flying in the sky. Because Krishna is not some ordinary human, he's the Supreme Lord. Morning we were discussing the Bhagavatam class. Krishna can change any material situation. Because the entire material energy is under his supervision only. Ayadhyakshera prakriti, suyate sacharacharam. The entire material world is working under his supervision. He can change anything. In any way he wants, he can do that. That is possible by Krishna. So Krishna was flying, his chariot was flying, and Krishna and Arjuna was traveling, and it's mentioned in Krishna book. And Krishna's chariot was proceeding higher and higher. And when the chariot actually crossed the 8 layers, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and ego, all those 8 layers actually Krishna's chariot crossed. And after that the dense darkness was there. Then suddenly, immediately Krishna released his Sudarshan Chakra. And from the Sudarshan Chakra, tremendous effulgence manifested. And because of that light, the chariot was moving. And Krishna crossed the Brahma Jyoti layer also. Prabhupada is writing in the purport, even Brahman effulgence also. It is actually Krishna's one expansion only. It is not the supreme form of the Lord. Like jnanis, a pure jnanis, they will reach at the maximum Brahman effulgence. That itself is difficult. To reach the Brahman effulgence itself is very difficult. So we cannot see a pure jnani also in Kali Yuga. Everything is mixed. So when Krishna's chariot was proceeding or crossing the Brahman effulgence layer, unlimited of Brahman effulgence, That Prabhupada is writing the Brahman effulgence, no? Brahmanohi Pradishtaham. From Krishna's transcendental form, unlimited effulgence is coming. That effulgence only is called Brahman effulgence. Brahmajodi. So actually Arjuna was not able to see because the tremendous light. Arjuna was not able to see, he closed his eyes. It's mentioned in Bhagavatam like that. He closed his eyes. And Krishna's chariot further and further went higher. And finally Krishna entered into Vaikuntha. Because Krishna knew very well where the child is actually kept hidden. He knows everything. Nothing can be hidden from the Supreme Lord Krishna. That's why we have to practice spiritual life with full sincerity, because Krishna is watching. Krishna is always watching as Paramatma. Gadir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi is the greatest witnesser. He knows everything. So when Krishna and Arjuna entered into Vaikuntha, Arjuna also entered into Vaikuntha along with Krishna. Because Krishna is there, Arjuna was able to go. And when Krishna and Arjuna entered inside Vaikuntha, Lord Narayana, he was lying down on top of the Ananda Sesha. As soon as Lord Narayana saw Krishna, immediately he got up. He got up, but because Arjuna is there, standing nearby, and Lord Narayana got up and sat down on top of Ananda Sesha. They are saying in Kerala, in Kochi, there is a nice temple, Purnatrayisha. So there, Lord Narayana is in the sitting posture on top of Ananda Sesha. They are saying that form only in Kochi, Krishna, Lord is giving darshan to all of us. So, then Lord Narayana spoke to Krishna. I know very well that you will come here. You will come here to retrieve the child. I only kept all the six or seven children of that Brahmana. I only kept it here, kept it hidden. Why? The reason is I want to have darshan of you. Lord Narayana wants to see the Shyamasundara Krishna, the two-handed form of Krishna, holding Tribhanga Lalitam. Tribhanga Lalitam is curved in three, in the bending posture. Krishna is so beautiful, and especially his standing posture in three curved form, no? That posture is so beautiful. His beauty is increasing. And Venum Kwanantam, he is holding this flute and peacock feather in his head. So Lord Narayana wanted to see the Shyamasundara Krishna. So that Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. Naham Vedair Natapasa. One cannot see Krishna simply by studying scriptures alone. It's mentioned here. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktau. Lord Brahma's deep realization. Brahma Samhita is Lord Brahma's deep realization. Realization about the absolute truth. He's saying, Vedeshu Durlabham. One cannot understand Krishna by studying scriptures. We will get confused because our mind is always sitting with us. Our mind will do all types of speculation. The same Brahma is saying, Pandastu Kodi Sadavatsara Sambragamyo Vayoradavi Manaso Munibungavanam Sopyastiyat Pravada Chimni Avichintya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Brahma is saying that one can travel in the speed of mind. Vayoradavi Manaso. Many times we discussed. But again and again, why we are discussing? Because our focus now, it should be fully on bhakti. If we want to achieve the success in this life itself, then our whole attention we should turn towards Krishna, not on anything else. That is why we are discussing again and again, same point. This material world is called distracting world. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada is writing like that. Material world is called distracting world. Maya will distract us constantly from Krishna. They have to be very alert. My entire focus. See, there is a nice sloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. It's mentioned that Srotavya Kirtidavyascha Jaya Pujyascha Nityada Tasmat Ekena Manasa Bhagavan Satvadam Badi. It's mentioned. Ekena Manasa. Ekena Manasa means with one pointed attention. We should never divert our attention towards the matter, because Maya has got unlimited aspects. She will distract us. But Bhagavatam is giving teachings to all of us. Ekena Manasa, with one pointed attention. Bhagavan Sattvatam Padi. Bhagavan Krishna is the master of all the devotees, Sattvatam Padi. And we should worship Krishna. Srotavya Kirtidavyascha Dhyaya Pujyascha Nityada. Nityada, every day we should do these four activities. Srotavya, hear about Krishna's glories, Krishna's wonderful leelas, Krishna's most attractive beauty. We should hear constantly. Then we will develop that attachment for Krishna. Kirtidavyascha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Kirtaniya Sadagari. All the time we should chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Kirtidavyascha. We should chant Krishna's names all the time. I was discussing in some other class. This is actually constant chanting of Krishna's names or constantly remembering Krishna. It is must for all the conditioned souls. Because if we, as soon as we just give a gap, immediately Maya will enter. 1 second is enough. 1 second is enough. If we forget chanting Krishna's name, immediately Maya will enter. So expert. Maya is very expert. In Vishnu Purana, there is a nice sloka. It is Yanmuhurtam Kshanam Vapi Vasudevam Nachintayet Sahanistan Magachitram Samoha Sacha Vibhramaha. In Vishnu Purana, this is sloka. Kshanam Va Api, even a kshana, even a moment, if we forget Krishna, Vasudevam Nachintayet. If we don't remember Krishna, even one moment. And Vishnu Purana is giving caution to all of us. Then that particular moment, we will be in the biggest confusion. Samoha. Samoha means Mahat, that word is used, Mahat. Mahat means biggest confusion. We will be in biggest confusion. Sacha Vibhramaha. Moha means biggest illusion and Vibhramaha means biggest confusion. And that particular moment, if that is, we don't remember Krishna, that particular moment is the biggest loss, it's mentioned. Magachitram. This sloka Prabhupada is quoting in only one place, in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto. And that much seriousness is expected from all of us. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, Ekena Manasa, with one point of attention. If we do all these things, Dhyaya means remembering Krishna. Then Pujyada, worshipping Krishna. But here it is mentioned, Krishna is saying, cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, even nor by worship. It's mentioned. Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a nice sloka. Krishna cannot be understood even by worship also. That love, that affection for the Lord, that should be there. Then only Krishna can be revealed. Even one can do worship also, because it's mentioned nor by worship. Na sejjaya, it's mentioned. Ijjaya means worship. Na sejjaya means even by worship also we cannot understand Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita in Madhya Leela, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, one of the important acharya in our Sampradaya, he has written, saying that Japa, Vidhi Marga, Tyaga, all these tapasya, iha haite, madhurya durlabha. We cannot get madhurya, we cannot get love by all these things. Kevala ye raga marge, madhurya sulabha. Raga marga means by unalloyed attachment, with a pure attachment for Krishna, then only madhurya sulabha. The love for Krishna, madhurya, that will manifest. Sulabha, easily one can get it. There is a nice sloka, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Krishna is saying, even by worship also we cannot understand. Na sejjaya. These are all the important points we should carefully note and practice our spiritual life very carefully. So Lord Brahma is saying that one can travel in the speed of the mind. The mind, the speed of the mind is swifter than the air, the speed of the air. Air can flow some 140 miles per hour. But the mind can travel more than that also. Vayoradavi manaso. Even if someone travels in the mind of in the speed of the mind. Right? Mind, by sitting here, next second we can go to US. We can go to US by simply thinking about US. Mind can travel, but air cannot go in that speed. So Lord Brahma is saying, even if one travels in the speed of the mind for many, many years, Pandastu Kodi Sadavatsara Sambragamyo, even the crores of years also, even if we travel at the speed of the mind, still Avichinta Tattve. Avichinta Tattve means Krishna cannot be understood. Krishna cannot be understood. So, these are all shocking information for all of us. We have to channelize our spiritual path very carefully. If we think that, oh, very good, I have studied the scriptures, that means I have understood Krishna. If we think like that, then we are wrong. We are wrong. Because Krishna is saying, Nagam Vedair. One cannot understand me by studying scriptures alone. But one can understand Krishna, Adurlabam Atma Bhaktau. Atma Bhaktau means a pure devotee. A pure devotee. Morning we were discussing in the Bhagavatam class. He does not know anything other than Krishna. He knows only Krishna. That's called a pure devotee. He doesn't depend on anything matter. The material aspect, he will never depend on in any situation. He is called a pure devotee. So, he is called Atma Bhaktau. So, by associating with a pure devotee, very easily one can understand Krishna. Lord Brahma's realization in Brahma Samhita. So, right? Abhichintya Tattve. So, Krishna cannot be understood by the speculation. The speculation, mind will do all types of speculation. Neti, mind will do. Because mind has got that capacity. Unlimited capacity. Mind has got that. Under the grip of Rajas and Tamas, mind plays like this. Mind acts like this. Because the false ego is created by Rajas and Tamas. By the influence of Rajas and Tamas only. And that false ego is dictating the mind. So mind will simply create unlimited proposals. Have you experienced in our life? Mind will do unlimited proposals. No, this will not work. Some proposal mind will give, after 4 days again mind will reject it. Again another proposal. In this way, endlessly we will do speculation alone. We cannot understand Krishna. So, Krishna can be revealed only if he is pleased. He can reveal himself only if he is pleased. So how he will be pleased? Krishna himself is saying, only by undivided devotional service. That means, previously also we discussed, devotional service means it is not simply physical activity. No. Devotional service means service. Prabhupada is writing in the 6th chapter, 47th sloka. He's writing that devotional service means service with love and faith. With love and faith. Our faith, it is on the matter only. Now if we measure our faith on Krishna and faith on the matter, if we measure it in the weighing scale, our faith on the matter only, it will weigh heavily. Faith on Krishna is very meager. That is why we are loitering in the birth and death cycle repeatedly. Faith on Krishna, it should be 100%. With that full faith on Krishna, and naturally if someone has 100% faith on Krishna, then immediately love also will come. Love for Krishna will manifest. Morning we were discussing, Prabhupada is writing in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, unless we increase our faith on the Supreme Lord, we shall be attracted to so many other things. That is the cause of our material bondage. See? Because of our material faith only, we are stuck inside this birth and death cycle. So we have to increase our faith on Krishna. How we will increase our faith on Krishna? By hearing about Krishna's wonderful pastimes and Krishna's wonderful divine qualities. By hearing repeatedly, we will develop that faith. The faith should be cultivated. Prabhupada is saying this word, it should be cultivated. By carefully, it is like a gardener. Regularly he is going into the garden and watching all the plants, whether it is growing nicely or not, and any obstacle is there or not, he is checking. And if there is any weeds are going, immediately he will remove that weeds. And he will arrange for nice supply of air or water or the sunlight. He will make all the arrangements. So carefully the gardener is watching the trees, the plants. Then in the same way, actually we have to cultivate our faith on Krishna. Right? Because we are so busy, occupied with all the worldly activities, we are not at all, that is why it is called distracting world. But it is our responsibility. The responsibility of the human being. If we don't spend our time sufficiently on Krishna, in Krishna, then actually we'll be forced to take another janma. Previously also we discussed, there is a nice quote in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The intelligence of a living entity who does not turn his attention, Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki. Intelligence of a living entity who does not turn his attention toward Krishna simply changes dresses like a prostitute. Very strong sloka. We will simply change dress. That means changing the bodies. So we have to turn our attention fully on Krishna. So initially we will do devotional service keeping our faith on the matter. Like this only a sadhaka, a practitioner will start spiritual life like that only. While keeping major faith on the matter, we will start doing service. But that has to be rectified, purified, should be refined further. And our faith should be fully fixed on Krishna. That's it. Only if we reach that stage, that is called, in that stage if we do service, that is called devotion service. That is why it's mentioned service with love and faith. It is not simply whatever activity I am doing, it is devotional service. No. Wherever there is a word devotion, if it is used, it is actually very heavy word. The heavy word. It will not manifest so easily. So that is that type of devotional service Krishna is demanding here. Bhaktya tu ananyaya. Ananyaya. Prabhupada is writing here, without being mixed with fruitive activities or speculative knowledge. We already discussed. Technically, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti. It is all mentioned. Mishra means mixed. So we may do devotional service, but simultaneously I will have inclination towards fruitive activities. I want to enjoy fruits. by performing varieties of activities. I want to derive that fruit. So when that tendency is mixed with our service, then it is called karma mishra bhakti. It is not pure devotional service. It is not ananya bhakti, as mentioned here in this sloka by the Supreme Lord. And jnana mishra bhakti means he may do service, but he has got inclination to accumulate jnana. Actually, we were discussing in some other class, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Vidya Vadu Jivanam means holy name. Krishna's holy name is the life of all transcendental knowledge. See, Srimad Bhagavatam is there, 18,000 slokas are there, Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses are there, and Upanishads are there, Puranas are there, vast scriptures. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, holy name is the life of all transcendental knowledge. That means without holy name, simply if we assimilate jnana alone, then it is useless, no use. So a sadhaka, a devotee who is trying to advance, he should not have this inclination also. I want to acquire all types of philosophy, learn all types of philosophy, or learn varieties of stories. No, that tendency also should not be there. I want only Krishna. That type of desire we should have. I want only Krishna. I want only bhakti. I don't want anything. So when that type of attitude is manifested in our heart all the time, that is called ananya bhakti. And only if we have that ananya bhakti, Krishna is saying, jnadum drashtum cha tattvena. So Krishna actually, he is saying, avipakva kashayana. As long as we have some material desires, we cannot see Krishna. It's mentioned here, Krishna can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service. We cannot see Krishna. We are not able to see Krishna, no. The reason is we have material desires. That is why. So the jiva has to work personally. See, to give up the enjoyment attitude, it is not somebody will do. I have to do. Because I am a person, individual person. I have free will. I have intelligence. Krishna has given all these things. I have to first study all the scriptures, understand at least theory-wise, and then when the situation comes, Maya will tempt us by giving the situation. When the right situation comes, we have to use our free will properly and select only Krishna. And Krishna is also watching. That is why Krishna is sitting as Paramatma. Whether he is selecting me or material pleasures, Krishna is watching. Constantly is watching. If we select, by misuse of our free will, if we select some worldly pleasures, Krishna will stay back. He will stay away. Okay, it is your choice. You are not selecting me, what I can do. So then we will lose the goal. Even though we will take up Bhakti Yoga, still we will lose the goal. We will get distracted. That is why in Bhagavatam there is a sloka, Tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakkoda padettado yadi. Apakkoda, yes, he has given up all the varnashrama dharma. Varnashrama dharma is there, right? 4 varnas are there, 4 ashramas are there. So even he has given up varnashrama dharma and charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakkoda padettado yadi. Yes, he is performing devotional service to the lotus feet of Hari. Still, he can get deviated. Apakkoda. Because of the immaturity, he may get deviated. Immaturity means he is not fully convinced that I want only Krishna. He is not fully convinced. I want Krishna, but at the same time, I want something also in the material world. Then it is mixed. It is not pure. Then proportionately he will get distracted. So Krishna is demanding, only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. All these words are so beautiful. Mysteries of my understanding. It's a mystery. Understanding Krishna, no, it is a mystery. Understanding Krishna, understanding Bhakti, understanding holy name, it is all mystery only. It's a puzzle. We cannot easily understand by our brain. If we think that I have understood Krishna, Lord Brahma is saying in the 10th canto, Bhagavatam, is saying, somebody may say that I have understood Krishna, but as far as I am concerned, Lord Brahma is saying, to Narada Muni is saying, as far as I am concerned, I have not understood Krishna so far. Lord Brahma is saying. So humbly, with humble prayer mood and always begging for Krishna's mercy to reveal himself. I will finish now. Adi Shankaracharya is saying, Jagannatha Swami, Nayana Patakami Bhavatume, please be visible to my eyes, O Jagannath Swami. Lord Adi Shankaracharya is praying in a humble mood. That humble, prayerful mood, constantly we should exhibit towards Krishna. Then Krishna will reveal himself. That is called bhakti. Okay, it's already getting late. We'll stop here. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitya Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Any doubt? Any queries?
Prabhu, there cannot be a greater devotee than Srila Prabhupada of Lord Krishna. How was it possible for Prabhupada to chant Lord Krishna's name continuously, even without giving the gap of even fraction of a second, in spite of his temple building activities in more than 100 countries?
It is exactly like gopis. Gopis, they were doing all types of household activities. But in the background, constant love for Krishna is already there. For us, it is a multitasking. Because we are under false ego, how it is possible? This question is coming. Not only for everybody. The same question is coming. How it is possible? While doing activities simultaneously to remember Krishna? It's a multitasking activity. For us, it's a puzzle. So when we develop love for Krishna, Arjuna also, he fought in the Mahabharata war, killed many, many people. That is externally he is doing, but internally he was constantly having that Sakya Prema. Sakya Prema. That is filled in the heart. So externally, because Krishna told me to to fight in the Mahabharata war, I am doing as a duty. I will do that. But internally, is filled in that Sakya law, Sakya Prema. The same way gopis also. They were doing all types of activities, but internally they were having this Vatsalya Prema towards the child Krishna. So because we don't have love for Krishna manifested in our heart, for us it is a multitasking activity. It is a puzzle. How it is possible? Repeatedly this question is coming for me also. The same question is coming. So the process is, we have to do this continuously. Yesterday we were discussing. Kunti Devi is saying, Abhikshnasaha. Continuously we have to practice this chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra. Then holy name will remove all the anarthas, unwanted things from the heart. Then as soon as when the love manifests, then it is possible. He can do any type of activities. So Prabhupada was that type of personality. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody have any more doubts?
Ruji, Hare Krishna. I have a small question that, if we see the devotees of a demigod, they are usually rich materially. But if we look at the devotees of Krishna, they are usually struggling materially. Why is it so? They are poor, like something like that. Reward.
Same question was asked by Parikshit Maharaja. Same question was asked by Parikshit Maharaja to Srila Sukadeva Goswami. It's recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Parikshit Maharaja asked, Lord Shiva's devotees, they are actually very happy with all the opulences. But Krishna's devotees are struggling, struggling with all poverty. Why it is like that? Because when we approach Krishna, Krishna is supremely intelligent. Okay, this jiva, this spirit soul, somehow or other he has come to be. I will not allow him to go away from me. So he will think that if I give you more opulences to him, then more opulence means then he will get pride. Dhritarashtra also is saying same thing only. When we get more opulence, more facilities, then we will get pride. So because of the pride, he will not surrender to Krishna. Surrender means humble, being humble. One should be meek and humble in front of the Lord. That's called surrender. So pride is completely opposite to the surrender. So Krishna is watching. Oh, he has got opulences, so he will get pride and he will go away from me. I don't want him to go away. Because after crores of janmas he has come to me. So I will very carefully protect him by not giving the opulences. This is Krishna's vision. Transcendental vision. See, many times we discuss this point. Transcendental vision is completely different, completely opposite to the mundane vision. The mundane vision, everyone will think that if I have opulences, then I will be comfortable. But the transcendental vision is opposite. If he don't have opulence, then he can depend on Krishna. Helplessly, in a helpless mood, he can utter the holy name of Krishna. That is why Krishna is very careful how much to give, whether to give or not, he knows. Accordingly, only is sanctioning. Okay, Prabhu. So devotee is not bothered about the opulence. Devotee wants, that is the meaning of pure devotion. He wants only Krishna. I don't want opulence. Opulence is, after all, is external. It's a matter only. It's a matter. Anyway, after death, we have to give it up. We have to give it up. We cannot take all the opulences with us. So devotee is very intelligent. That's the meaning of Sumaya Dosaha. He is very intelligent. He wants only Krishna. Okay, Prabhu? Right? That is why. But the person who is so much after the material facilities, then he will go behind the demigods. That is why he is going behind the demigods. Because he wants material opulences. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We profusely thanks His Grace Srinivasa Prabhu for his wonderful discourse. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.